Good evening. It's 7 o'clock on Monday night, and this is ChildServ. My name is Mike Glass, and welcome. Again, as we have every Monday night at this time over the last 12 weeks or so, we've been talking about a different project, different program for ChildServ organization. And I will say before we get into tonight's conversation that if you are listening and you have a question, please use the number on the screen, 312-738-1060, and we will hopefully be able to answer whatever questions you have. Over the last few weeks, we have talked about the various programs that ChildServ works or runs on behalf of at-risk children and their families. Tonight is a little bit different in our final show of this part of the program as far as our 13 weeks are concerned. And we are going to be talking a little bit about another organization within ChildServ that supports the ChildServ programs that we do. My guest this evening is Ashanti Madlock Henderson, and she is the chair of the ChildServ Auxiliary Board. And the Auxiliary Board is an organization that supports the programs that we run, and the demographic for the Auxiliary Board is between ages 30 and roughly 42. And these are young professionals who want to be involved in support of an organization such as ours. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
You're welcome. And let's start out by just talking a little bit about the Auxiliary Board and how you got involved in it, and basically how you view it.
Okay. Well, the Auxiliary Board, I can say, was birthed from young professionals volunteering with ChildServ and seeing the opportunity for more young professionals to get involved, to offer their time and talents and resources to ChildServ. And so I got involved because there was an information session about ChildServ and the Auxiliary Board, and I went to it and learned about all the great programming that ChildServ was involved in. So I signed up to be on the board, and I don't recall what all of the other questions were. So please ask me again.
Well, no, I was just saying that I think we wanted to, for the sake of the people who might be listening, and again, the number is on your screen if you have any questions about this or would like to volunteer, would like to be a part of the Auxiliary Board. Just basically what your philosophy is as the chair, what you would like to see, how you would like to see the Auxiliary Board operate on behalf or in support of the organization, of ChildServ as an organization.
Okay, so since the Auxiliary Board started, our mission has been twofold. Number one, of course, to raise funds and resources for ChildServ, but two, to also raise the awareness of ChildServ. And so I think that we're going to continue to have those two goals in mind as we proceed for 2012, to get the community aware of ChildServ, get of all the great programming, aware of the Auxiliary Board, and to raised funds. So that's how we're going to go for 2012, and building on everything we've established over the last 2 years for greater results in 2012.
Okay, and as far as people who want to become involved, how do they go about that? I know that we support that from the Resource Development Department that I'm involved with. We support your efforts as far as the organization is concerned, but generally speaking, for the sake of people who might be listening, how do they become involved in the organization?
I would say that they should check out the ChildServ website first of all, and is at childserv.org.
Right.
To go look at the website, make sure that the programming is what they really value, and it's something that they would have an attachment and a desire to help promote those programming. And then on there's a page about the Auxiliary Board, and so you can look up there, look about the Auxiliary Board, what we've been doing, what we're interested in doing, to make sure that that's in line with what your goals are, and then shoot us an email, and then we can go from there.
Okay. My colleague who is off camera and who's taking the calls for us has said that I should be saying that if you have any questions, either call this evening at 312-738-1060 or go to info@childserv.org. Or you can go to the website, which is behind me at www.childserv.org. And then we would be able to put that individual in contact with you as the organization going forward.
Right. And so if someone's interested out there tonight, they most definitely can call in and chat with us.
Okay. And as far as the organization is concerned, so again, for folks who might be listening, how often do you, because everybody works and has different hours, and it's not their day job to come on and be a part of our organization, how often does the auxiliary board get together or meet on a regular basis, and what types of programs do you foresee possibly as we go into 2012?
Okay. Well, the commitment level is not major. We're definitely looking for people who are dedicated and will be able to meet our regular meetings, which we have about 4 a year.
Okay.
We could have a special call if we're having a big event or something coming up, but a minimum of 4 a year for meetings, which last about an hour. And then a commitment to helping with the programming. So if we are going to do, like this past fall, we participated with the back to school drive. So that's going to take some time to collect some items or talk with your employer or your building to see if if they could donate items. So that may take a time, but I don't think that it's something more than 20 hours a year that the average board member would need.
Okay, and as far as the board is concerned, and people coming on, besides volunteering in some way or another with regards to what we do as an organization, ChildServ that is, what other goals can someone coming on the board and wanting to be involved in a major not-for-profit organization, what other goals can he or she achieve as far as being on the auxiliary board? Can they go on from there? I mean, I know.
Well, the auxiliary board is just a great platform because, first of all, there's a lot of personal development that you can do, being involved, meeting new people, networking within the board. You also have the people that are ChildServ employees and the larger board there to work with or get to know and to network with. You get to practice your skills for fundraising or event planning. And then also there is a great opportunity to actually get trained and get prepared to serve on the larger ChildServ board. So those are the types of personal development items that you can get from being on the auxiliary board.
Okay, and I would assume that as far as individuals coming on the auxiliary board with regards to and I've heard this, where they work, that as far as credit or whatever you'd want to call it, that a lot of companies now or firms look to their people that work for them and want them to be involved in the community and to be able to do that volunteer type of work.
Yes. I think that a lot of employers have embraced the idea of having being good corporate citizens, and that's trickled down through their employees, being involved, bettering the community, and being involved in different organizations and nonprofits. So that most definitely is an opportunity for you to not only improve yourself personally, but also for the overflow to improve your social standing, with your employer, and also the networks that ChildServ will open up to you. There could be overlap.
Right.
Definitely.
And I would think that not only networking that would be open to the individual, but I would assume that in some instances it might be beneficial to the company or the firm that the individual is actually involved with.
That's right.
I know that there are different times when individuals who are involved on a volunteer basis with us and from particular companies, that what happens at that point is that the company itself takes a look at ChildServ.
That's right.
And goes on to another program that we have, which is corporate partnerships. And so that blossoms into quite a relationship, if you will.
Yes.
And from that, the person who has volunteered to be on the auxiliary board then can move up representing that company or firm onto the board of trustees at that point in time. So is that something that you aspire to?
Of
Or is that a loaded question?
No. I think that most definitely, aspiring to sit on a large nonprofit
That's
and
really
to work on a larger scale with the programming, with the amount of funds that you can bring in, and the impact that you can have definitely is increased. Serving on a large board.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the upcoming year.
Yes.
And what do you envision? I know we started to talk a little bit about agenda, but let's go into that a little bit more so that folks who might be listening, and again, it's 312-738-1060 if you have any questions and would like to call in, so that people will be able to see what they would be getting themselves involved in during this year. What do you envision as far as organizational programs that we might be doing, or you might be doing, in support of the major organization? I know that we're talking about fundraisers, and we're talking about friend raisers also. So let's just talk a little bit about that so people would get an idea.
Okay. Well, I can say that to give you an example of the type of projects that the Auxiliary Board has worked on in the past would be a nice happy hour at a rooftop restaurant in the summer. So you got to mingle with your whoever your guests, the people you invited, ChildServ employees, and the guests of other auxiliary board members and members of the public that came along. And so that is a type of event that I believe that we would love to do again. So it's something for the auxiliary board that's young and fresh, but still we were able to show a video about ChildServ's programming and raise funds, and also we actually were able to support a new business. So it was all about, sharing and raising funds and awareness for ChildServ for that. We've also participated in the back to school drive, and we would love to do that in 2012, as well as, continuing to be present at the annual dinner for the large ChildServ. So we want there to continue to be an integration of the auxiliary board working with the larger ChildServ board, having fun events. Last year we did also the BACS tournament, so that was very nice. So to have fun events that would attract our target audience, which is still the young professionals 30 to 40 range, to come in to learn about us and get excited. So I really do hope to see an event in the spring with us, maybe with the same kind of restaurant theme, happy hour theme, where we'll get people in after work to come in and have some fun and learn about ChildServ's programming and what else we have planned for 2012.
And as far as I understand, and that's the fundraising part of it, and obviously the organization is really appreciative of all of the support that you and the auxiliary board provide as far as the fundraising is concerned. But also with that, I would say, because we've talked about this, that people on the auxiliary board are also in a position, if they would like, to volunteer for programs that we have and to be a part of those programs, and not just that coming on the auxiliary board is raising money or the pressure of raising money, but there's more involved as far as getting involved with our clients, the children. Yes.
Well, one idea that we've already the auxiliary board already talked about for the spring would be to go into one of the group homes and doing the gardening and getting them prepared for summer. So pulling weeds, planting flowers, doing a little painting on, the outside of the home. So that is something we definitely have, our eyes on doing, upcoming in the spring. And we would love to have new people interested in ChildServ and the Auxiliary Board, and
Sure.
really getting hands-on volunteer hours and to come and join us.
Okay, and that's for the spring, and I'm assuming then in the fall, you as well as we gear up towards what we just completed, which
Yes.
was the collection of gifts during the holiday season.
That's right.
And I know that starts early.
Yes, not only the collecting the gifts, but once the ChildServ has received the gifts, but wrapping them.
Right.
Coming to the office, wrapping the gifts, so they're all prepared to be sent out to the children.
Okay, and I know that going forward also, because it's an auxiliary, let's talk about that for a second. I'm calling it the Auxiliary Board, and of course that's what the term is, but it is really a formal organization with bylaws and all of that, not just a loose type of volunteer group,
Right.
but this is an organized type of group, and you as the chair run the meetings that are held on a regular basis.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that people understand that there is a commitment to an organized type of organization within the umbrella, within the context of ChildServ.
Very true. And not only is there the chair position, but there's other, vice chair, secretary, treasurer. There's other roles, program chairs, so that you can become involved and hone in your leadership skills as well. So it is a true structure to what we're doing.
True structure to it. Right. And again, if you have any calls, please, or any questions, I should say, please call 312-738-1060 this evening. Or again, you can go to info@childserv.org, or go to our website to get more information about the auxiliary organization. And there isn't any stipulation as far as where people can come from, to join. In other words, they can be from Chicago, they can be from the Chicagoland area.
Well, of course, we do have our meetings downtown, but of course you can work or live, anywhere within the Chicagoland area. As ChildServ serves, the Chicagoland area with, projects in the city, in the suburbs of Chicago, in Lake County, and DuPage County. So yes, there's no restrictions on where you live or work.
Okay, and speaking of the meetings, so that folks get an understanding of that and what the time frame type of thing is, how often do you meet as an organization, structured-wise? How often do you meet to go?
Well, our set minimum is 4 times a year, but I'd say we may have 1 or 2 extra meetings if we need to wrap something up together for an event that's coming up. So I would say we normally meet maybe 4 to 6 times a year, and it normally lasts just about an hour. So it's a easy commitment.
Okay, and you were mentioning about the meetings being downtown, at least right now.
Correct.
I would assume that if there was a surge of, a swell of people that would like to hold it at a different time, that's a possibility, and that what is the time frame on that? You meet in the evening?
We do meet in the evenings. Right now it's about 6 o'clock downtown, but we do also have the teleconference option for people who, if you're stuck at work or you won't be able to travel in time, you can always call in, so that we don't want to lose anyone that's committed and dedicated to the programming and working with us because they are working late or have some other commitment at that time.
Okay. And as far as people coming from different companies or representing different companies, what do we do? Are we in a position that if somebody calls and says, I'm interested in what is happening here, but I have to go through my company, and I need more information about ChildServ and about the organization. Are we in a position to have someone from the board possibly make a presentation to a company or something like that on behalf of not only the auxiliary board but ChildServ, so that the company who might be supporting that individual forward understands who we are and what they're getting involved with in the name of that company?
Yes, most definitely that is an option, and that's something that we did on probably not a presentation but a smaller scale, but had the packets and the information available to all of the auxiliary board members when we went out so they can pitch to their employers and their buildings for the back to school drive.
Okay.
So, once you're on the board, you're just not left alone. We will be there to support you, to help you help us.
Right. That's where I was going with that, so that people understand that, it's a group function, and that we are doing that type of a thing.
Yeah.
And as far as recruiting, if you will, for the board, what other avenues does the auxiliary board use as far as going out and, getting the word out, as far as like volunteer fairs or things of that sort?
Okay, so aside from reaching out to our family, friends, and co-workers, one of the goals for 2012 is to get involved with Young Professionals of Chicago, their nonprofit arm, which does host volunteer fairs throughout the year, so we can go out there, give exposure to ChildServ. So say you don't have the ability at this time to maybe volunteer on the board, you still can learn about ChildServ's program and volunteer opportunities in a different level. So we do want to that's part of our advocacy arm, our goal to get the word out about ChildServ and the opportunities to serve in a variety of different ways.
Okay, and that was a good point you just mentioned about advocacy. I know that the folks that sit on the auxiliary board, again, as far as ChildServ, the main organization is concerned, looks upon folks that are on the auxiliary board as ambassadors on behalf of the organization, and not just this group of young people that are sitting off to the side. And so because of that, I would like people to know that we take seriously at ChildServ in making sure that the people who come and give of their time to be on the auxiliary board get the information about the organization and really get to know the programs and what's involved in doing that. And I would assume that we're going to continue to do that as we go through this year, again through the volunteering of these folks and connecting them with certain programs that we run that they would like to be a part of.
Oh, most definitely. That is something that the board is very dedicated to, getting the hands-on experience and exposure. And I know that arms each of us to be better ambassadors, once you see the child's face, or once you collect the items and you see the impact of what you're doing, has.
Right, and that's a good point. I would like people to know that the auxiliary board gets involved in the programs that we operate, and with the young people that we are our clients and who we assist, and they are not just off to the side as an adjunct of what we do, but actually get involved in the programs going forward. Do you have a goal in mind as to expanding this year, as to numbers of people? I know because you've been around now just 2 years, and I know that we are at somewhere around 24 people, that I would think that what's the plan? What do you have in mind as far as expanding, perhaps?
I would love to see us double our numbers. Each one reach one.
Sure.
We want to get the word out and to get more people dedicated and on the auxiliary board. I would love to see that happen.
Okay, anything else that you would like to, that we haven't touched on? We have about, I'd say about 45 seconds or a minute left. Anything that you would like to say to those who might be listening?
Well, I would say if you're out there and you're looking for a great organization that has a great impact with the community, dealing with families, dealing with children individually, to really consider ChildServ. Come and bring your energy, your time, your talent, your resources to the Auxiliary Board and help us make a bigger impact in the Chicagoland area.
And I thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And I thank you for listening. We will be back in the spring. This is our last program, as I mentioned, for now. And then we will be back starting in April. Thank you for watching all of this time, and I appreciate your support, and so does ChildServ.